Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del challenges the status quo, questions everything, and empowers you to return to your core beliefs to make your life better. If you're ready to hear the truth and get your roadmap to the lifestyle you really want, the next hour will change your life. And now, your host, self-made millionaire, national award-winning investor of the year, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley.
Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. Well, today, my friends, we're working on retirement. And we're covering an article that someone sent me called 30 Reasons It's Hard to Retire at 65. Now, when I first saw the article heading, I thought, there's no way we can cover 30 different reasons in an hour. Then I started going through the article, and what I saw was it was just really sound bites. And the article's by GoBankingRates.com, and it's like 30 sound bites as to why you can't retire by age 65. When I started reading it and looking at it, something clicked in my mind that there's probably a little tale of woe in each and every one of these 30 items that we can look at and understand why the average person is so twisted up and why they can't retire. Now, you have to understand, we're going to start this whole argument with, I retired at 34 years of age. We're going to follow that argument up with, Lifestyles members come here under a system that is designed, and when I say designed to, if you follow the system accurately, to give a majority of the people the ability to retire within 2 to 5 years. Now, when I first wrote the book, it was 5 to 7 years. So why did we change it to 2 to 5? Because we found that once we started getting our product out to people who were successful people, who had saved some money, who had a good job, who were intelligent, that they were finding they could retire in 2 to 5 years instead of 5 to 7. Now, I retired in 2.5. So I never thought that, anybody else could do it like I could do it. I thought I was an anomaly. And one of the reasons I thought I was an anomaly is because my income was so low. It wasn't that hard to replace $70,000 a year of gross income. And I thought, people that make a lot more than that or have a more difficult time. And then the other side of it was, what about people that are completely broke? And what I didn't realize was that if a person's learned to live completely broke, then it's not very hard to retire. I mean, if you're living on $10,000 a year, if you're living on $2,000 a month or $24,000 a year, $2,000 a month is very simple to replace, and you can do that very easily. Now, my take-home pay was $3,500 when I was making $70,000. So you have to understand, we're working with a completely different animal here. We're talking about take-home pay because the income that we earn from real estate done correctly is tax-free. And so when I get rental income in the mail from my tenants, the depreciation covers that, and I don't pay taxes on that year, and I can defer that off into the future as far as I want to defer it off. So it's much easier to retire when you have tax-free income. So whatever it is you have to make. So if you make $100,000 a year, we went over this the other day in one of our classes. If you make $100,000 a year, you're really only taking home $60,000 a year. So that means you only need to earn $60,000 a year to be able to cover this. So if you understand that concept, then you go into the second part of the concept, and we'll get into this article here, but just the basis of what we do is important. The second part of the concept is to understand retirement is not an age, and it's not a dollar amount. Retirement is a financial position where your passive streams of income equal or exceed your earned income. At that point, you're retired. You're financially able to take care of yourself without getting up and going to work every day. And this is an important factor to understand. So with those bases right there, you realize that the age factor of all this arguments of these 30 things to retire by age 65, the age part is ridiculous. Yet almost all Americans believe that they can't retire until they're age 65. In fact, we'll start off with the first statement of the article. I'll read it. It states, 65 has long been the magical age for retirement, but the expected age of retirement is becoming more diverse for the majority of non-retired U.S. adults. According to the Gallup poll, 25% of polled adults expect to retire at age 65. That's 25%. Only a quarter of Americans expect to. That doesn't mean they do. That means they expect to. Whereas 39%, that's almost 40%, expect to retire at a much later age. So let's go on down and see what these 30 reasons are why that is. Number one, you haven't saved enough. Many people think they've contributed to an IRA or a 401k. They should have enough money to retire. Despite our best intentions, sometimes life gets in the way, and you might think you've been fully funded for your 401k, but sometimes you only contribute enough to get the company match. So basically what they're saying here is this is a concept. For some reason, people blindly believe that the 401k was set up in a way that if you put in as much as what your employer will match, that number somehow is a magical number that by the time you get to retirement, you'll have enough money to retire. And what this article is saying is that's not true. Even if you followed what the government suggested practices are for your 401k, in other words, you can only put so much in your 401k, that's max. That's all they'll let you get away with putting in there tax deferred. Same thing with your IRA. They only let you put in so much each year for your IRA, tax deferred. If you followed the government's model and put in the maximum amount, what this article is saying, you still wouldn't have enough. All right. In fact, the next statement it makes is you haven't anything at all. The only good thing about not having anything saved for retirement is that you're not alone. A Go-To Banking Rates Retirement Savings survey found that 1/3 of Americans have absolutely nothing saved for retirement, and 55% have less than $10,000. Wow. Think about that for a second, folks. How can you have nothing saved up for retirement? You obviously can't retire. Now, $10,000 is consequentially nothing. So when you're looking at 55% have less than $10,000, that means basically 55% of people in the country are broke. No major problem could occur to them that they would not go broke. And that in itself is just horrendous. Now, obviously at $10,000, they can't go buy enough real estate to retire themselves. But somewhere along the line, you have to go buy that first property. You have to pick up that first stream of income. And that might have to be a rent house. What can you get into a rent house for? Well, we have these trick ways of buying them where we use hard money lenders, and they lend us the purchase price plus the rehab. So if we can buy the property in deep enough discount, we can get in for very little or nothing money out of pocket. It's a very aggressive way to buy real estate, and when you own it, you end up owning it well below what it's worth. So you're going to make some capital gains amounts right away of something like, I'm just throwing a number out there, 5, 10, 15, 20. I've seen 25. I've seen $50,000 instant capital gain on these deals. Not to mention a cash flow of $200, $300, $400, $500 a month. I've even seen as much as $800 a month. So my point is, you have to start somewhere, and even if you've only got $10,000, you can at least get started. Here's the next part. 65 is no longer considered full retirement age. We are living longer, our retirement is becoming longer, which means people collect Social Security longer, and Social Security Administration is adjusting the so-called age. If you were born before 37 or born after 37, it's age 65. If you're born after 60, it's 67. So psychologically, as a group, in this country, we're believing you've got to work longer and longer and longer and longer. But what does that hold true for people that are retiring 2 to 5 years from the day they get started? That means none of that governmental brainwashing makes any difference to Lifestyle's member. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today we're discussing an article someone sent me. It's 30 reasons why it's difficult to retire by age 65. The article really should say 30 reasons why it's difficult to retire at all because of the mindset and the financial planning that goes into some of the ridiculous concepts behind this. We're now on one that states you don't want to leave money on the table, which basically says you can't start collecting Social Security at 62. You can collect at 62, but you'll get a smaller check each month. If you wait until your full retirement age, you'll get your full benefit. Waiting until age 70, you'll get even more, up to 8% per year more, depending on your birth. All right, 8% per year more if you wait from age 62 until age 70. So, boy, that sounds like a really great thing for somebody that, really thinks they need Social Security to retire on. But what is that really saying? Am I supposed to work for 8 more years? Now I retired at 34, so I can't even imagine even going to work. I mean, I'm doing a 1-hour radio show here, guys, and this is like a full-time job here for 1 hour, right? I don't know how you go to work for 8-10 hours a day at 62 years of age, and I'm doing this show 3 days a week. So I don't know what you're doing to survive that long that you could work until you're 70 years old. My gosh, how do you get out of bed and do it? I don't know. But that gets you 8% more income. So I'm looking at the Social Security payout sheet that I get in the mail because I'm at that age where they start sending them to you. And it says I can make $2,200 a month, but if I work for 8 more years and not start collecting, I make $2,900 a month. So it's like, whatever that is, $700 a month more if I wait to age 70. Now, since I've been retired since age 34, I don't really need to apply for Social Security. It's really irrelevant. And when we get into this thing deeper, you're going to find even more reasons why Social Security is pretty much useless to me when we get there. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one now. It says you don't know how much you'll need. No one holds a crystal ball, so it's difficult to predict how much you need. That just isn't true, folks. I know how much I need. I needed $100,000 a year to live then. I need $100,000 a year now. And if you really understand the way the human brain works is, how much do I need is just $10,000 a year more than what I make now. That's the way the human brain works. It doesn't get up to some age and say, okay, now I'm old and decrepit. I don't need clothes anymore. I don't need food anymore. I don't need a car anymore. I don't need a place to live anymore. I could live in a box under a bridge. I don't need things. No, that doesn't happen. Whatever your cost of living is that you've come accustomed to, that's what you're going to want to live. And if you don't believe me, go ask your wife. No wife is going to let you live under a bridge just because you've gotten to be 65, 70 years of age. You're going to live poor. That's a ridiculous concept. So when you say you don't know what you need, you know what you need. You need enough to live life the way you want to live it. And it's not going to happen by piling a pile of money in the bank and eating it away very quickly. Next comment was you didn't start saving early enough. Now, that's the old lie. The old wives' tales that, if you start early saving and start long and you have enough time to compound everything, you're going to get where you want to be. The problem is you've also had a longer period of time to fall into 2 or 3 different stock market crashes, had 2 or 3 different health disasters. So the problem is it's not how long you saved, it's how much you can save and what you do with it once you save it. So that has absolutely nothing to do with it. I love all these things. That's why, like I said, there's 30 bite-sized little pieces of lies that people live by. The next one is you did your traveling before retirement. A lot of people look forward to traveling in retirement, taking up golf or visiting grandkids. But if you put a lot towards vacation or other luxuries during your working years, you might not have enough money to retire. Contrary to possible belief, it might not be the lattes or the avocado toast that prevent you from scoring a comfortable retirement. It could be those big, large spurges. And let's go one step further. What about retirement? What does that golf membership cost, guys? It's a lot of money. And so you're thinking you're going to live on a minimal amount of retirement, like Social Security of $2,000, $3,000 a month. And by the way, that's if you paid in maximal your whole life, which I have. But you think about that. You know, it's a ridiculous concept that, you know, you're going to actually have enough money to actually live life great when you get older, unless you have income. And if that income is there, guess how much income you want? More than what you had last year, so you can do more than what you did last year. Next problem is you claim Social Security too early. And by doing so, you've locked yourself into a lower amount. We've already discussed that one. Here's one. You cashed in your 401k. Your retirement savings will take a big hit if you take money out of your 401k or another qualified retirement plan before you reach age 59 and a half. You'll have to pay income taxes on the money, and you'll probably pay a 10% penalty. So guess what? Our members do it all the time. We pull out $100,000 and we pay 33% income taxes, 10% penalty. That's 43%. We keep 57%, which is $57,000, and then we go make 100% return on the $57,000, and now we've got all of our money back, even after those horrendous taxes you paid, which we call, by the way, I call the ignorance tax. 401ks have an ignorance tax. If you're dumb enough to put it in there, then you're dumb enough to pay an astronomical amount of taxes to get it out. So, well, why get it out? Because you can't use it unless you get it out. And if you don't get it out, you can't buy the assets necessary to make you rich and or retire you. So you've got to get it out. Well, I'll just wait till I'm old. Then you'll be old. Do you not get that? Then you'll be old and decrepit. I'm training again. I just put on 25 pounds of muscle. I'm working out in the gym every day because I've been prepared physically through this. I've been in the hospital 4 times in the last 2 years. I've had every part of my body cut off, sewn on. I've had every health issue you can have. I've had cancer. I've done that one too. And all of that costs money. And all of that takes something out of your body. But if you're working until you're 70 years of age, if I had to get up right now after all that, I would be almost physically exhausted. But instead, I get to get up and go to the gym every day and work out and become healthy. Actually, starting to look pretty good again. I'm kind of knock on wood there. That's actually glass. But the bottom line is, you can't, because you're working to fill that 401k up. And you can't take the money you put into that 401k and use it because they won't give it back to you. The 401k is the biggest scam that there ever was. When do you pay the lowest taxes on the income that you ever earn? That's when you're young and in the beginning. That money should be coming out, building wealth, allowing you to retire before you ever hit that old age. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today we're discussing an article called 30 Reasons It's Difficult to Retire by Age 65. And the next point that they make, I actually have 2 or 3 different points I want to make off of it. And I'm trying to figure out how to say it without coming off politically, socially offending to people. But here's what it says. It says, your spouse has passed away. Postponing your retirement can become more appealing for a couple of reasons. If your spouse happens to pass away before you retire, you might want the company of coworkers and routine of going to work every day to help you with the loneliness that comes being a widow. In addition, you only have one Social Security benefit to collect rather than 2, and you should receive 2 you would have received if you still were married when you began receiving benefits. Granted, the benefit you receive will be larger of yours or your spouse's, but it's still only one benefit. All right, I get the one benefit deal. That makes sense. But let's talk about this if the spouse passes away thing. I've got 2 points I make to you. One, about being retired, just in general. I retired at 34 years of age, and all of my friends still had full-time jobs. So I really couldn't hang out with any of my friends anymore. It was all over with. I had to either go find rich people to hang out with. I did. I started a program that taught other people how to retire so that I had people retired. Everywhere you go, all over the country, there's Lifestyles members that have retired. Many of the people, if you talk to them that are members, they'll tell you that the social aspect of finding people that are in the same financial position you're in, that you no longer have a job to get up and go to. That is your clique of people, your little worker bee clique, to now have a retired clique, a group of people, and clique probably sounds like a bad word, but your social group. I have a social group of people I hang out with. 90% of them are Lifestyles members. There's a few people that are neighbors and friends of ours and stuff we've met along the way, but all of my neighbors are retired also. So it's just by nature of where we live, in an expensive place. So the bottom line is that those kinds of people do you hang out with. Now, let's go back to this so the wife goes away thing. I want you to understand, folks, relationships and sex don't end at age 65. I've said it. I know you didn't want me to say it, but they don't. I'm just as healthy as can be, and I'm married to a woman 12 years younger than me, and there's a reason. Because I need one 12 years younger than me. But I'll tell you another little secret. I own a senior citizens apartment complex. And you had to be 65 years of age or older to live there. I'm sorry, I think it was 59 to live there or something. But what you would find is in an full apartment complex like the senior's place, there were like 8 women to every 1 man. There is tons and tons and tons of women because women live longer than men. And life doesn't end like you think it does. There is dating. There is all kinds of fun and romance. And yes, they even have sex. And I know you don't want me to tell you that. You go, ooh, that's ugly. No. The bottom line is there's a lot of life past 65 years of age. And to think that you're spending your whole life aiming for this age, and now your spouse dies and you're alone and you're going to kill yourself? You're going to off yourself? You're going to live a miserable life? Hey, I know this is off the topic, but it's something that when I saw it, I had to bring it up. Life is incredible at 65 if you had taken the right moves earlier in life to retire and to have enough income to live on, to be able to go meet other people and to travel with them all over them. And women, if you're out there, you know that you'd rather travel with your girlfriends than with another guy. But if you want a guy, there's one out there. They're all out there. So life doesn't end at 65. That's the point I'm trying to get to. And don't let everybody think you just have to become a mushmallow at 65 years of age if your spouse dies. That's crazy. All right, next one. Didn't contribute to an IRA when you could. Okay, who cares? It doesn't matter. The whole bottom line is that belief that you save enough money, you'll be able to retire. You can't. You can't. Now, here's the next one I think is just horrendous. You think you'll spend less money in retirement. Certain expenses are associated with working. That will stop once you retire, such as commuting expense, work, wardrobe, lunches, so on. But you'll also have a lot of free time, and that can be a temptation to spend. Making retirement budgets so that you know that you can need and have and save what you need to stick to it once you've retired. Hey, guys, why would you spend less money once you're retired? You actually should have enough time to spend more money, to do things you never had time to do. This is the time of your life, quote unquote. Why are you living poor? Well, the reason is because you didn't create passive streams of income to live off of. And once you created passive streams of income, they continue to grow in value. And so each and every year you end up making more money you did the year before. Next reason for failure is you completely relied on Social Security exclusively. And that in and of itself is a failure. You're going to have to work until you're at least 70 to get the maximum amount from Social Security. And so here you are working till you're 70 years of age. and then still not earning enough to actually live off of. So the whole Social Security concept is a weak concept for retirement in and of itself. The next one is you want to have a more lavish retirement. We've already thrown a bone at this one. Who wants to live like a poor dirt clod under a bridge in a box, right? Your retirement plans include expensive travel, second home, costly hobbies. You're going to need money, more money than what you saved up, and way more money than what Social Security is going to provide for you. Here's a neat one. You want to keep working. Retiring after 65 isn't always a necessity. Some people choose to continue to work either at the same job or a different one. They might cut back a few days a week and choose to work fewer hours a day, but they want to keep working. A recent Gallup poll found that 74% of Americans plan to work past retirement age. So, I'm working 3 days a week for 1 hour a day. Say, man, that's a pretty good job. How can I do that? Say, well, you can go down to Walmart and work for $20 an hour, $15 an hour, and stand there 1 hour a day, 3 days a week, and make $60. I guarantee you, my passive streams of income are way in excess of any amount you've ever earned during your earning years. That's my passive streams of income. Are you with me? So, yeah, you may want to do something. I like teaching. You may want to do something else. A lot of people are interested in the fact that they now own some real estate. Now that becomes a second business or a first personal business, family business they ever had, and they enjoy putting a couple hours a week into it. They don't get up and go to the office. You don't go to the office to run your apartment complex. You have a manager. You don't go to the office to run single-family houses. They run themselves. Rent comes in the mail. So neither one, either being the management company / asset manager for an apartment complex or being the owner of single-family homes, neither one of them is a job you get up and go to work to. But you still have the stimulus of being involved in society, talking to people, making decisions, all those things they say are healthy into your older age to keep you active and fit, right? Next one is your mortgage isn't paid off yet. All right? Just another expense. Whether your mortgage is paid off or not, you still have to pay taxes, insurance, water, gas, electric, and maintenance, lawn care. The cost of owning a home never goes away, folks. Never goes away. Your mortgage is just a piece of that cost. Even after you pay your mortgage off, you still got to pay those property taxes every year. You still got to pay that insurance payment every year. That's part of that mortgage payment each month. None of that stuff's going away. So don't fool yourself. Don't think that getting your mortgage paid off is the secret to retiring. It's not. Next one is you have too much other debt, including college debt. Guys, come on now. How can you owe college debt all the way into your 60s? This is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. The other one is, why do you sign for your kids to go to college and put yourself back into debt? Again, crazy, crazy, crazy concepts. Let your kids take on debt if they want to take on debt, because it's their debt going with their asset. They're going to end up better off if they do good in school. If they decide not to do good, it's their money they're wasting, not yours. You need your money. Or, again, you could have started early, became very wealthy, and could have funded your child's college with cash, not ever going back into debt at an old age. We'll take a short break. Be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Welcome back to Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today we're following through an article that's called 30 Reasons Why It's Hard to Retire by Age 65. And the next topic that comes up is as follows. Your parents need you. In development that was nearly unheard of a generation ago, some people who are approaching retirement are still caring for aged parents. Although a 65-year-old might not be actually providing the care for the 85-year-old parent, they might be paying for it, which would prohibit them from retiring at age 65. So, my friends, I'm just going to take you through generational pain. Do any of you remember back when your parents were somebody important to you? I mean, come on. Just get into this with me for a second. Do you remember when your dad was the smartest man in the room and your mom was all caring, all loving, that knew everything? These two people were like, they gave you all of your belief systems. Do you realize that they failed in life? Your parents are total failures financially. I don't know what else. I'm not trying to put them down. But they are financial failures that they need to come to you for help. Do you realize your 30-year-old kids living at home with you are complete failures and you taught them how to be failures? And now they're living at home with you because their belief system about money and about jobs and about savings is all screwed up. Well, where do you think they got all those belief systems from? They got them from you. And where do you think you got your bad belief system? You got them from your parents. So now here you are taking care of parents that can't take care of themselves because their strongly held beliefs in their 401k and their IRA and Social Security and the government's safety blanket or whatever it's called. All of that stuff is garbage. And what's funny is you've fallen into believing the same thing. You still believe in the 401k, the IRA, the safety blanket, the annuity, the this, that, whatever. And you're going, I would be successful if I wasn't taking care of my parents. But the reality is that you are taking care of your parents and you are taking care of your kids because for the same reason that you're not going to be successful, your kids are going to have to take care of you someday. Because the theory, the assumption is wrong. I remember dating this young lady who was a sibling with 6 kids. And I remember asking her, parents, why did you have so many kids? You live in a one-bedroom apartment. Why did you have 6 kids? And the father looked at me and kind of snickered and he goes, that's my retirement program. Them kids are going to take care of me. Well, do you see how sick that is? Do you understand what that father was expecting of those children? Do you understand those children? Lives were trapped and destroyed from the very beginning because they knew that when they got to the part of life where they might actually start to become financially successful, they now had to take care of their parents. But that belief system that people take care of each other now leads them to taking care of their 30-year-old kids also. How many of you out there right now on this radio station out there have 25 to 35-year-old kids living at home? Come on, folks. Be honest to yourself. Now rationalize. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for Del Walmsley. Do it for yourself. Why don't your kids have a place to live? Right? Kids should all have a place to live. Why don't they? And the answer is because when I was young and I told my dad I quit college, he goes, that's great. It's time. Time for what? Get out. Go out there and learn how to take care of yourself now. But your kids don't. And your parents can't. And so your life is destroyed. Yes, I said it. It's destroyed. You're living a quiet life. You're living a life of quiet desperation, right? You can't retire because you know you don't have enough to live on. That's the next one. You know you don't have enough to live on, so you're not even going to bother trying to rationalize that you should retire. Somewhere along the way, you made some risky bets that didn't pay off. Yes, you've tried every multi-level marketing scam there is. You've bought gold. You've bought silver. You've been scammed into limited partnerships. You've been scammed into every kind of investment scam there is. You know, you bought yourself a franchise. You've done it all. One or another has taken you down. They didn't pay off. They brought your savings back to zero. You know, your whole life you've been told, if you're not now where you want to be, then you haven't failed enough times. That's every self-help guru's BS statement to you who got lucky that one of the things they ever tried made it. And all the other failures they ever had didn't mean anything because they got lucky one time. Well, friends, you didn't get lucky. You tried it. It didn't work. You went broke. That's not the way to do it. Rule 1, never lose money. That's my rule. Never lose money. And the last one, you fell victim to sequence of returns. Risk. You might have done a good job saving for retirement and you feel you have enough put aside to live comfortably. Then you run up against the dreaded sequence of returns. You might plan to withdraw $40,000 a year for the rest of your life on your $1 million, but the market drops 50%, and now it's as though you were taking out twice as much a year. In addition, you need 100% return to get back to where you were. There it is, my friends. Your entire concept of living off savings defunct in 2 paragraphs. Your system doesn't work. Our system does. Please take the time, come visit us, and find out how you too can retire in 2 to 5 years. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley radio show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Del Walmsley show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.